The slap echoed through the hotel lobby like a thunderclap. Guests froze. Glasses stopped midair. The sound hung between them, sharp, shocking, and unforgettable. Madame Vanessa staggered back, eyes wide, her palm pressed to her cheek. For a moment, she couldn't breathe. The world tilted. Her red gown shimmered under the chandeliers, but her dignity bled quietly beneath it. "Madam, please." Amaka cried, her chest rising and falling fast. "I beg you, don't follow him. He's not who you think he is." Vanessa's voice trembled between rage and disbelief. "Have you lost your mind?" Daniel's face twisted into fury. "Security," he barked. "Get this mad girl out of here." The guard stormed forward, grabbing Amaka by the arms. She didn't fight them. She just kept shouting, desperate. "Madam, he will hurt you. He's lying to you. Please listen." "Enough." Vanessa snapped, her voice sharp as glass. "You're fired. Do you hear me? Fired." The guests were whispering now, phones raised, recording. The elegant billionaire and her maid, center of scandal. Amaka's eyes filled with tears, but her voice didn't break. "You can hate me, but I just saved your life." Vanessa turned away, humiliated. "Take her out of my sight." They dragged Amaka through the crowd, her heels scraping against the floor. Every step away from Vanessa felt heavier. She wanted to scream the truth, but she knew no one would believe her. Who would take the word of a maid over the word of a billionaire's charming boyfriend? That night, Amaka slept on a cold bench in a police cell. Her palms still tingled from the slap that might have saved a life or destroyed her own. The other women in the cell laughed quietly at her story. "You slap your madam? You get mine oh." She didn't answer. She just sat with her thoughts, replaying everything she had overheard. She could still hear Daniel's voice, calm, confident, wicked. "Tomorrow NA the big day, boys. Hotel El Royal. She thinks it's a romantic dinner, but after the wine, she goes sleep deep." The laughter, the arrogance, the certainty in his tone, it haunted her. He had planned to destroy the woman who trusted him most. And Amaka, powerless but brave, had tried to stop it the only way she knew how. In her mind, she saw Vanessa's face again, not angry this time, but broken. What if she really didn't survive that night? What if Daniel truly meant what he said? The thought made her stomach churn. She wished Vanessa would just read the letter she left behind. Maybe then she'd understand. Back at the hotel, Vanessa sat in her car for a long time before driving home. Her makeup was ruined, and her pride had taken a beating. A maid had slapped her, in public. Cameras had caught it. She could already imagine the gossip blogs, the trending hashtags, the humiliation waiting at dawn. Daniel sat beside her, trying to comfort her. "Babe, you shouldn't let that girl get to you. She's jealous. Maybe she wanted me or something." Vanessa said nothing. Her chest felt heavy. She had always trusted Amaka. The girl was quiet, obedient, almost invisible. She never complained, never asked for favors. Why would she suddenly show up at a hotel and cause a scene? But anger was easier than doubt. "She's lucky I didn't have her locked up for good," Vanessa muttered. Daniel smirked, squeezing her hand. "Forget her. Let's just go home." Yet, even as she nodded, something inside her didn't sit right. That slap, that desperate, shaking voice, it had come from fear, not hate. There was something in Amaka's eyes that refused to leave her mind. By the time they reached the mansion, Vanessa's anger had cooled into confusion. The house was quiet, too quiet. Every corner reminded her of Amaka's presence, the neatly folded towels, the soft scent of lavender, the silent efficiency that kept the home alive. It was strange how quickly the absence of one person could make a house feel hollow. She poured herself a glass of wine and sank into the couch, scrolling through her phone. Social media was already buzzing. Someone had uploaded a blurry clip from the hotel. The caption read, "Billionaire slapped in public by her maid, full drama." The comments stung. She probably deserved it. These rich people treat their workers like trash. Or maybe the maid just lost her job in her mind. Vanessa's fingers trembled. She closed the app. She wanted to delete the memory altogether, but she couldn't. Because under the noise of humiliation, her instincts whispered, what if she wasn't lying? She ignored it. She turned off the lights and went upstairs, trying to silence her thoughts with sleep. But when she opened her bedroom door, her eyes caught something that made her stop. On the side table lay her phone, with 5 missed calls from Amaka. All from the same afternoon before the hotel. 5 calls. Why? She frowned, scrolling through the call log again. The maid had tried to reach her, again and again. A strange unease washed over her chest. She didn't want to admit it, but something wasn't adding up. She sat on the edge of the bed, replaying the evening. Amaka's words came back clearer now. "Please, Ma, don't follow him. He's not who you think he is." Vanessa's pulse quickened. "Nonsense," she whispered, trying to shake it off. But doubt had already entered. And once doubt walks in, peace walks out. Down at the police station, Amaka barely closed her eyes. Every time she did, she saw Vanessa's face when she read the letter, or worse, when she didn't. Maybe the madam would tear it up in anger. Maybe Daniel would get rid of it first. But deep inside, she prayed that truth would find a way. By morning, Vanessa woke up to the sound of her phone buzzing again, Daniel calling. She let it ring. Her eyes were tired, her mind restless. She didn't know why, but something told her not to answer. Vanessa sat at her vanity the next morning, staring at her reflection. The woman in the mirror looked tired, not from age, but from everything she had forced herself to ignore. Her eyes were puffy, her lips dry, and beneath the silk robe and diamond necklace, she looked like someone pretending to be fine. Daniel came up behind her, his arms sliding around her shoulders. "Morning, beautiful," he murmured. She forced a smile. "Morning." He kissed her cheek. "Forget about yesterday, okay? People like that maid don't deserve your attention. She embarrassed you because she wanted to feel powerful for once." Vanessa said nothing. His words made sense, but his tone, something in it sounded rehearsed. Daniel always knew the right things to say, too right, too smooth. The kind of smooth that hid sharp edges. "She called me 5 times yesterday," Vanessa said quietly. Daniel's hands froze for half a second before he laughed it off. "She probably wanted to beg you not to fire her. That's all." "Maybe." But the words sat heavy in her throat. He went on about plans for the weekend, a trip, a dinner, maybe a short getaway. Vanessa nodded, but her mind was far away. As soon as he left the room, she picked up her phone again. 5 missed calls. All within 10 minutes. And after that, silence. She tried to shake it off. Maybe she was overthinking. Maybe it was nothing. But her heart wouldn't stop whispering, what if it was something? By noon, Daniel had gone out to meet a few clients. Vanessa sat in her living room, restless. The mansion felt too big, too quiet, too full of memories. Her gaze fell on the corridor that led to the servants' quarters. She hadn't gone there since firing Amaka. It felt wrong somehow, like stepping into a ghost room. But curiosity won. When she opened the door to Amaka's small room, the scent hit her first, detergent and lavender, faint but familiar. Everything was still neat, too neat. The bed was made. Her few clothes were folded on the chair. It didn't look like someone who left in anger. It looked like someone who left with intention. Vanessa's eyes scanned the room, her fingers brushing against the table. Then she saw it, a white envelope lying neatly on the bed, with her name written in careful handwriting. "For Madam." Her stomach tightened. She picked it up, heart pounding. Slowly, she tore it open and unfolded the paper. "Madam? I know you won't believe me, but Daniel is not who you think he is. Yesterday, I heard him on the phone with his friends. He said he would drug you, get your passwords, and take all your money. I tried to call you, but you didn't pick up. I didn't mean to disrespect you, Ma. I only wanted to save your life. Please, don't go back to him." Her hands shook. The letter dropped onto the bed. She sat down heavily, her breath shallow. It felt like the room was spinning. Every word hit like a knife. She wanted to scream, to deny it, to say Amaka was lying, but the maid had no reason to lie. None. Her mind raced back to Daniel's voice the night before, his quick deflection, his calmness. And those missed calls. 5 of them. She picked up her phone and dialed him. He answered on the second ring, his voice smooth as ever. "Hey, babe. Miss me already?" "Where are you?" she asked. "Just out." "Why?" "I went into Amaka's room," she said, watching for a pause. He chuckled. "You still thinking about that girl?" "Babe, let it go. She's gone." "She left a letter." Silence. A full 3 seconds before he replied, "Oh yeah? What did she say?" Vanessa's throat was dry. "She said you planned to drug me and steal from me." He laughed. It was a sharp, confident laugh that somehow made her skin crawl. "Wow. So that's the story now? She's crazy, Vanessa. You know that. She's probably trying to turn you against me. People like her hate seeing you happy." Vanessa wanted to believe him. She truly did. But his reaction, too quick, too defensive, felt off. He didn't sound shocked or hurt. Just angry that she had brought it up. "I have to go," she said quietly, and hung up. For the first time in months, she felt afraid of him. She walked to her window and stared at the garden below. The air felt heavy, like a storm was coming. Everything she thought she knew suddenly felt fragile. Her trust. Her relationship. Her sense of safety. Her phone buzzed again, a message from Daniel. "Babe, don't let that stupid maid mess with your head. She's just bitter. I'll make it up to you tonight. Dinner at the penthouse, 8 p.m. Vanessa stared at the message for a long time. Then she blocked his number. She didn't cry. She didn't even scream. She just sat there, numb, trying to piece together how she had gotten here. The strong, successful woman who could out-negotiate boardrooms had somehow let a man crawl so deep into her life that she couldn't see the danger right in front of her. Her phone buzzed again, this time from her lawyer, Mr. Okafor. She hesitated, then called him back. Madam Vanessa, his deep voice came through. Is everything all right? She took a deep breath. No. But I need it to be. I want you to arrange something for me, discreetly. Of course. What kind of arrangement? I need a private investigator, she said. I want to know everything about Daniel Cole, who he is, who he talks to, where he goes, what he's hiding. There was a pause. Madam, that's a serious request. I know, she said. And it stays between us. Not even my assistant must know. Understood. She hung up and stared into space. Her hands still trembled slightly, but her mind was clear. The doubt had done its job, it had cracked the illusion. Now, truth had room to breathe. For the first time, Vanessa felt something she hadn't felt since the divorce. Not love, not fear, but control. Cold, focused control. If Amaka was right, she'd find out. If she was wrong, at least she'd know for sure. Either way, she wasn't going to be anyone's fool again. That night, when Daniel called again from a new number, she didn't pick up. She sat on her bed, staring at the city lights, whispering to herself, if this letter is true, I'll find out for myself. The investigation began quietly, just as Vanessa wanted. No one in her mansion knew, not even her driver or assistant. She told everyone she was taking a break from work, but in reality, she was holding her breath, waiting for the truth to come knocking. 3 days passed. Then 5. The investigator, a calm man named Duru, sent small updates, nothing major, just that he was tracking Daniel's activities and contacts. Vanessa tried to act normal. She smiled during meetings, replied to emails, even went out once with friends. But her heart never rested. Every ping on her phone made her jump. Daniel kept trying to reach her. He sent messages, flowers, long apologies. Babe, I can't sleep without you. You're overreacting. That girl poisoned your mind. Let's talk like adults, Vanessa. Don't ruin what we have. She didn't reply to any. She had seen that kind of manipulation before. Her ex-husband used to do the same thing. Twist the story, guilt the victim, play the lover. She wasn't falling for it again. On the 7th day, her phone buzzed with a call from Duru. Madam, we need to meet. There's something you need to see. They met in a quiet cafe on the island. Duru came with a brown envelope tucked under his arm. His expression was serious, the kind that warned her before the words did. He placed the file on the table. Everything's inside. Her fingers trembled as she opened it. Photographs spilled out first, Daniel with 2 men she didn't recognize. They were sitting in a car, laughing. Then came bank statements, showing large transfers between Daniel and someone named Dare O. And then, at the bottom, a flash drive. Duru slid it closer. That one will confirm everything. Vanessa plugged it into her laptop. A short video played. The camera was shaky, probably hidden somewhere in a car dashboard. Daniel's voice filled the air, sharp and familiar. Tomorrow night, she'll be too drunk to notice. Once she's out, we take everything. Her phone, her cards, her codes, I know all her passwords already. Another man laughed in the background. You sure this plan go work? Daniel smirked. If it no work, we go collect him by force. Then one asked, and if she wakes up? Daniel's reply was cold. She won't. Vanessa froze. The sounds around her faded. The hum of the cafe, the clatter of cups, everything disappeared. All she could hear was her own heartbeat pounding in her ears. She pressed pause, unable to listen further. Her hands covered her face as silent tears escaped her eyes. Her mind flashed through every moment she had with him, every touch, every I love you, every promise. All of it, lies. All of it, carefully constructed deceit. Are you sure this is authentic? She asked, her voice shaking. Verified, Duru said quietly. Recorded just 2 days before the hotel incident. She wiped her tears slowly. You said the police can get involved. Yes, madam. But if you want to keep it discreet. No, she interrupted, her tone firm now. Not discreet. Legal. For a long moment, she sat still, then whispered, get the police. Quietly. That night, she couldn't sleep. Rage and relief battled in her chest. Rage at Daniel, for making her feel stupid. Relief that she hadn't lost everything, that Amaka had stopped her in time. She poured herself a glass of wine and looked at the city lights through her window. The truth was heavy, but it was also freeing. For the first time in a long time, she felt awake. No illusions, no fantasies, just truth, raw and burning. The following morning, Duru called again. Madam, it's done. They picked him up at his apartment an hour ago. Vanessa exhaled slowly. Good. By noon, the news hit social media. Billionaire's boyfriend arrested for attempted fraud and blackmail. The headlines spread like wildfire, each one more dramatic than the last. Vanessa didn't make any statement. She didn't need to. The evidence spoke louder than she ever could. Daniel denied everything, of course. He claimed Amaka set him up, that Vanessa was being manipulated by her staff. But the evidence was too strong. The bank transfers, the call logs, the video. It was over. Still, Vanessa couldn't rest. She kept replaying the moment in the hotel, the slap, the shock in Amaka's eyes, the desperation in her voice. Every time she remembered it, guilt stabbed a little deeper. That night, she visited Duru again. "Can you find out where the maid is being held?" she asked quietly. He nodded. "Already did. She's at the local station." "I want to see her," she said. When she entered the police station, the officers stood immediately. Her presence carried power, even when she didn't try. "Good evening, madam," one greeted, nervous. She nodded. "Where's Amaka?" "Madam," she whispered. Vanessa nodded. "Yes. I owed you that." When they stepped outside, the evening breeze brushed against their faces. For the first time in weeks, Vanessa felt light, not happy, but lighter. The kind of relief that comes after surviving something you didn't know was killing you. She motioned to her driver. "Take us home." Amaka hesitated. "Home?" "Yes," Vanessa said, with a faint smile. "You're home." The car door opened, and they both stepped in, one woman humbled by truth, the other vindicated by courage. Neither spoke for the first few minutes of the ride. There was nothing left to explain. Everything that needed to be said was already written in that letter, sealed with desperation and love. Vanessa turned her gaze to Amaka. "Asked me to save my life. I've never seen that kind of bravery before." Amaka looked down, embarrassed. "I thought I'd lost everything." Vanessa smiled faintly. "You did lose something. But you gained something far more valuable, my respect." They drove in silence again, the weight between them replaced by quiet understanding. For the first time, Vanessa wasn't the boss, and Amaka wasn't the maid. They were two women who had seen the worst of love, and survived it. A week passed since Daniel's arrest. The story dominated every blog, headline, and gossip corner in the city. Some called it karma, others called it luck, but Vanessa knew better. It was grace, delivered through the hands of someone she once looked down upon. Daniel's trial was fast. The evidence was overwhelming, the video, bank statements, and voice recordings. His lawyers tried to paint him as a victim of a setup, but every attempt collapsed under the weight of proof. When the verdict came, the courtroom was silent. "Guilty," the judge said firmly. "On all counts." Daniel's expression was blank, like a man who had finally realized his own charm had expired. He looked at Vanessa, sitting quietly at the back, but she didn't. Vanessa nodded, looking at the sky. "Not yet," she whispered. "Not until I set things right." The next morning, she called for a meeting at her estate. The entire household, cooks, drivers, cleaners, gardeners, gathered in the courtyard, whispering among themselves. Rumors had spread about the arrest, the maid's release, and the madam's silence. Then Vanessa appeared, dressed simply in a cream blouse and brown trousers. No jewelry, no makeup. Just herself. She looked around, meeting their eyes one after the other. "You all know what happened," she began softly. "But what most of you don't know, is that the person who saved my life was standing among you." A ripple of murmurs went through the staff. Vanessa turned toward Amaka, who stood shyly at the back, head lowered. "Come forward," she said. Amaka hesitated, then slowly stepped out. Her heart pounded as everyone turned to look at her. She could still feel their judgment from that night, the whispers, the cold stares. But today, something was different. The air was quiet, respectful. Vanessa took a deep breath. This woman was accused of something she never did. She was punished for telling me the truth I refused to see. And while I was blinded by lies, she stood for me, even when it cost her everything. She paused, her voice thick with emotion. For that, I owe her not just an apology, but my gratitude. The courtyard fell silent. Some of the maids bowed their heads, ashamed. Others looked at Amaka with newfound respect. Vanessa turned to her. "Amaka, I can't erase what I did to you. But I can make sure the world knows your truth." She motioned to one of her assistants, who stepped forward with a brown envelope. "In here," Vanessa said, "is your full salary for the months you were away, a bonus, and a formal letter of recommendation under my name. You deserve better than what this house gave you." Amaka's lips trembled. "Madam, I don't know what to say." "Say nothing," Vanessa interrupted gently. "You've said enough when you chose to protect me." Tears streamed down Amaka's face. The staff clapped quietly, some even weeping. The moment felt sacred, the kind that rewrites the atmosphere of a place. When the crowd dispersed, Vanessa motioned for Amaka to follow her into the living room. The house was silent except for their footsteps on the marble floor. Vanessa sat down and poured 2 glasses of water. Tell me, she said softly, what do you really want to do with your life? Amaka blinked, unsure how to answer. I don't know, Ma. I just want peace. Maybe start a small business, something simple. Vanessa smiled faintly. You remind me of myself when I started, unsure, but determined. She stood and walked to her study, then returned with a small white envelope. Take this. Amaka hesitated before opening it. Inside was a check, the amount too large for her eyes to comprehend. She gasped. Madam, I can't accept this. You can, Vanessa said firmly. And you will. It's not a favor, Amaka. It's justice. Use it to start something. Build the life you deserve. Amaka fell to her knees, overwhelmed. God bless you, Ma, you don't know what this means to me. Vanessa knelt too, holding her hands. You don't have to call me Ma anymore. Just Vanessa. They both laughed softly, through tears. Vanessa, Amaka said, testing the name like it was sacred. Thank you. For a long time, they sat there, saying nothing. The silence wasn't awkward, it was healing. Two broken women, stitched together by truth. Days turned into weeks. Daniel's face slowly disappeared from the news. People moved on, chasing newer scandals. But for Vanessa, life had changed in a deeper way. She no longer looked for validation in love or society. She found peace in honesty, in seeing people for who they truly were. One evening, she received a message from an unknown number. Good evening, madam. It's Amaka. I just wanted to say thank you again. I used part of the money to open a small tailoring shop in Surulere. Business is slow but growing. I'm happy. Truly happy. Vanessa smiled at the message. She replied simply. You deserve it, Amaka. I'm proud of you. She set the phone aside, poured herself a glass of red wine, and walked to her balcony. The city lights glimmered below, alive, forgiving, endless. For the first time in a long time, she wasn't afraid of love anymore. She had learned that love wasn't blind, people were. And sometimes, the truth doesn't come from where you expect it. It comes from the hands of those the world often ignores. She raised her glass to the night. To truth, she whispered. And to the brave who carry it. The wind answered softly, carrying her words away, into a world that would, perhaps, learn from her story.